You light the way for me. Everybody is searching for empathy. You light the path for me. Illuminate. And if you can't find me, the wind's already taking me home, taking me home to you. And if you can't find me, I'll be in the ashes, rising far beyond. And if you can't find me, the wind's already taking me home, taking me home. And if you can't find me, drift deeper. Life goes on. We drift deeper. Drift deeper. We drift deeper into the sound. Life goes on. We drift deeper into the sound. Feeling strong. So bring it on.
Welcome to the Alita Army channel. This is Radio KAOS, the voice of the Alita Army, episode 106, Dinner Out with Alita, What's on the Menu, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gumu, and the greatly desired sequels. I'm your host for this episode, Max Tech Jura, and with me are in Denver, Colorado, pushing all the buttons and sometimes pushing the wrong ones, it's Muskogee Creek. How you doing, Muskogee?
Hoka hey, Alita Army, and I'm doing great.
And as you can see by his little video feed there, my God, Joe, you're keen when it's, so early in the morning here in Australia, but it's Doc Joe the Foodie. He's back again. Hey, Doc, how you doing?
I like it.
So obviously you guys would remember Doc Joe coming on and talking about AI and all those sorts of fun things, but I'm sure that none of you knew until I mentioned it in the advertising a few hours ago, but he's also a foodie. And being that it's definitely a food conversation we're having today, I thought I'd drag him in here before he heads off to the mountains with his lovely wife and get him to tell us all about foods he thinks Alita might like. So thank you for joining us, Doc.
Thank you.
All righty. But before we do that, now I have to push all the buttons because I haven't got my news reporter here. What can I do without a jealous? Anyway, he's in the text chat, but he's at work, poor bastard. I know where he'd like to be, but, you've got to earn money. So now, pushing buttons. Excuse me for just a second.
I love Radio Chaos.
we got to be chaotic or we wouldn't be living up to the name. Isn't that right?
That's right.
All righty. So Angelus nearly fell out of his chair when he saw this tweet. Got very excited about it, but Selena just randomly started tweeting about ready for a sequel, showing us some pictures from when she was working on the movie Alita Battle Angel. So it was very exciting. There were some people who was thinking that perhaps she's doing this because Rob Rod's heading off to Disney to poke the bear and try and get some money for our sequel. So we've all got our fingers crossed that that's the case, and we hope that she ends up working with Rob Rod soon. But as you can see, poor Angelus damn near had a heart attack. But the guys jumped in there, and there was lots of comments and tweets and people getting all excited about that one. Let's hope she's right. In case you weren't aware, Doc Joe's Selena Leon, we've had her on, we've interviewed her. She was a body double for Rosa Salazar during the movie. So probably one of the closest people we've interviewed to the star of the film. Okay, the next tweet is from Vladdy, who I believe is in the chat. If you are, g'day Vladdy. He's over in England. And Alita is airing on Channel 4 in Ireland, but he can't see the schedule. I actually have a news link later on from basically a online TV guide which shows that as well. But it's good that Alita is airing in live air TV in Ireland. That means that more people will get to see it, and more people will be amazed and will be joining the Alita Army, I'm sure. So I do actually know that there's a Alita Battle Angel Island, specifically for Island Facebook group, which I advertise in for the stream. So I know that there's at least a couple of mad lads over there that are very keen, and we wish them well, and we hope that they were watching it when it was showing on telly, because I think it's already shown. It was a couple of days ago. Next up, this is a post from Marino12, which is Mario, who's sometimes in the text chat, but I don't believe he is just now. So is this a coincidence? He's taking a break in a cafe, and look what's on the TV on Thursday. So he's having some tacos, and Alita's on the TV in the restaurant. So that's awesome. I don't know if that's free to wear or they were playing a DVD or what they're doing, but it's great that the public is getting exposed to Alita. Somebody at the cafe may be a fan, so that's terrific. I haven't liked that yet. I should like that. And then there was some more replies. You'll be recognizing a lot of these names, I'm sure. Next up, we've got one of the two Schmidt report posts. So Rose's currently, I believe they're actually got the panel on right now, but Rose's in Austin, Texas, discussing Undone Season 2. You were going to try and get to that, weren't you, Creaky?
Yes, I was. And for the last couple of weeks before my scheduled business trip, they actually canceled the trip and converted it to an online activity and stuff like that. So I didn't get to go down there. So.
Oh, what a shame. We would have had our man on the ground. We could have, swapped over to you and had you give us a live report from Austin, Texas. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I definitely wanted to go. You know, usually I don't get excited about business trips, but this one I did because I knew it was going to be a side trip after it, you know, but didn't work out.
Well. Apparently that is happening right away, and of course the usual suspects are there, including Creaky in the comments. And another one from, if I can click this tiny little X that my mouse doesn't want to go over, Charles Schmidt again with streaming reports. Joe, you wouldn't know this, but Charles Schmidt is. He basically runs the stats for the Alita Army and puts up reports on Twitter about how the streaming's going and where Alita is showing and on what channels, and basically tries to keep track roughly of how much money the movie's made at home and in cinema and all that sort of thing. So he likes to keep on top of all that information and keep us abreast of what's going on, and we thank him for it. He's often in the chat dropping little truth bombs as well, which is quite nice, but he doesn't seem to be here today. But Alita was number 9 in the iTunes top 10 in the Netherlands, and Alita was also recently in iTunes top 10 in Latvia and Belgium. Yesterday and today, Alita was shown in US FX channel, and from Google Trends, it's guessed that Alita was watched by 180,000 and 120,000 viewers. So you can see the spikes in Google searches when the movie was on. Probably going, oh my God, that movie was great. Let's see if there's a sequel. So they've Alita Battle Angel 2.
Yes.
But it records Alita Battle Angel as a search. And of course, he always likes to pop a picture in of our girl. Just to remind you, yes, that's what we're looking at. So there we go. I'll give them a like. So that's the tweets for this week. Now, as mentioned in one of those tweets, this is entertainment.ie for Ireland. And this is when Alita was on. So Saturday at 9 o'clock. Now, I believe that currently in Ireland, it is just after 9 o'clock. So she's showing right now. There you go. This was posted a few days ago. This is basically an entertainment TV guide. And it's great to see that the movie's showing live to air in Ireland right as we speak right now. So if you're in Ireland, you may have 2 windows open, I guess. But, other than that, it's just good to know that things are happening over there. Then we have the Digital FX this week posted about Alita Battle Angel 2. And having read through this, they know nothing more than what they could scrounge up across the internet from other sites. They didn't actually mention Rob Rod going to Disney recently, or hopefully soon. But other than that, they basically got the details that you can get from a whole bunch of other articles, which is fair enough. I mean, you know, if nobody knows anything new, it's still good that they're keen on the movie and that they're keeping it current by posting these sorts of things. We need people interested, and we need them talking about it. And these guys are coming through for us, so that's great. And it's quite a long article as well. So there you go. That's the digital fix. Next up, T3. I hadn't seen this website because obviously it's the UK. It's a UK website, but they talk about trends, and they were saying top 3 Disney Plus sci-fi movies for March that are not Marvel or Star Wars, and Alita's right there at the very top. So there you go. Kari Marshall, thank you very much. This was published 4 days ago, and they want people to watch Alita, so that's great. Thanks, Cinema Blend. And thanks, Cinema Blend, because, of course, we can't have a Cinema Blend article without Alita showing up in it. We always appreciate Cinema Blend and the work that they do to keep Alita current. And this time around, it's after Star Wars Galactic Star Cruise, and 9 movies that deserve their own immersive resort. And if we scroll on down, we see Jurassic World, Rolling's Wizarding World, Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Batman, John Wick, Knives Out, Shining, and there's our girl Alita Battle Angel. And of course, just ignore that one because it's Twilight. And of course, our good mate Mike Rees is the author. No surprise there.
Well, Mike Reyes is actually, he's in the Alita Army. So,
yes, that's why he's our good mate.
You bet.
That's what it means.
That's right.
But yeah, so he's you know, keeping the candle lit in the window for us. That's great, and hope to see Mike again soon on the stream. And that is the news. Creaky, do you want to hit the YouTubes?
You betcha. Hopefully you guys can see that. So
Yep.
when you want to look at for new new content for Alita Battle Angel, you certainly want to type that in the box up here for the search engine, but then you want to click on filters this week. And I bet you guys can guess what's going to be number 1, but that's okay. That's a surprise, isn't it? So there you see, oh yes, the creek has already got a view in 14 minutes. Excellent. So, but there's a lot of, we see this every week. There is just a ton of content in there for Alita. Now, some of this stuff, like I've always said, every week you want to be aware of this stuff that says full movie. Because particularly, and it's not just that title, you see that's got a website on that. Now you kind of want to stay away from that, because if you click on that, who knows what's going to happen. You might get malware on your system, or they might gather your personal information or whatever. So stay away from those. But most of this stuff is valid. There's another bad one and another bad one. Oh, it looks like I lied. And then you see, sometimes you'll see like either Columbia Pictures or Universal up there as the, you know, kind of the window into a video they have. But we know that Alita was not produced or distributed by Columbia Pictures or Universal. So that kind of gives, that's a dead giveaway right there. But there's some more, as you can see, more content. And we're only within 3 hours here. And look how far I've scrolled down already. Now, there's one with a 20th Century Fox, but it's got one of those websites on it. So you probably want to stay away from that one. There'd be no reason if someone had the authority or the say clearance or the permission, it'd be a better word, to put the movie on YouTube for it to be watched like that. They wouldn't need for you to go to another website for doing that. So that's kind of the way why you want to kind of stay away from that. But yet, even more and more content. Ah, look at that. That's the stream from last night. We had a lot of fun on that stream, and we kind of wanted to make it, you know, kind of consistent with the stream today. You know, we didn't really get into what we would, you know, buy Alita for dinner, but we did talk about her liking chocolate and oranges. I know we talked about that, you know, and I think at one point somebody suggested that maybe you know, something like a chocolate liqueur or maybe Kahlua or something like that might be good for her, because since it's chocolate, you know. So anyway, but see more and more, another full movie. Stay away from that damn thing. And then here's our stream today. So, you know, there we are. We are in the search. Excellent. Oh my goodness, there's another one from Creaky. Of course, Creaky's a whore. He just likes to make sure he's just wants to make sure he gets in front. So anyway, but more and more content. You see, we're only down to 2 days, and look how far I have scrolled down. I mean, if you want new Alita content, oh, another one from Creaky, then you would. I haven't seen Alita Army or Turlo Dormans yet, so maybe I passed it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. That's a good video. I watched that one. It's pretty neat. He actually had 2 of this week, I think. But yeah, you know, you can surely get some more content than you know, you bargained on by just typing Alita Battle Angel, or if you just type in Alita. Now, if you just type in Alita, you're going to get a lot of other. There's several, you know, kind of YouTube pages or channels there that have people that are run by people named Alita. So you're going to get that too. But if you type Alita Battle Angel, you're going to get our girl. So, and you can see we're only 4 days down. Look, there's another one from Creaky. Ah, gosh, that rascal. So anyway, more and more, you know.
You're beginning to sound like Gollum talking about yourself in the third person.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, my precious. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but gosh, I mean, what can I say? I mean, we're down to 5 days, and we're not near the end. Now we're at 6 days, so we're starting to get near the end. But, and it'll go past that too, by the way. It'll go as far as you want to scroll, but it certainly will prioritize it. Oh, that rascal Creaky's got another one in there. So, just to reiterate, you would type in Alita Battle Angel, hit search, and then of course you hit filters, then you click on this week, and then click on filters again, and then you type in click in upload date, and it gives you that list prioritized by the last time, you know, the last load of it. So just tons and tons of content out there. All you have to do is just do the search. So I'm kind of proud of this one because actually my brother narrated it for me, and it kind of takes a look at, you know, how Alita's Army military training has shaped her fighting skill, you know, how it, you know, what role it's played, you know, because she learned a lot from it, you know, and you saw a lot of that in the movie and in that and that kind of that specials or that extra content you got on the Blu-ray or the DVD rather. So really proud of that one, I guess. But yep, lots of content. All you got to go do is look at it. And that's pretty much it, Maxie.
Thanks very much, Creaky. And remember, everybody, that all those people who are making the effort to put Alita videos up, except for those people who are trying to scam you with a full movie,
Yes.
support them. Go and have a look if you've got the time. Click on them. Give them your clicks. Watch the ads if you have to. Give them a trickle of money that they get from YouTube for advertising, and get them to make more content, because we need it out there. We need people watching it. We need it to be popular. I'm sure that Disney will do a search on YouTube at some point to get analytics on what's happening with Alita and what the interest is. So be interested if you've got the time, and support those channels. Alrighty, so we've had the news, we've had YouTube. It must be time for Enter Back. And I think who better to kick us off with Dinner Out with the Leader? What's on the menu than our local foodie, Doc Joe?
Hey, g'day. So, how do we want to do this? I mean, when I watched the movie, I did notice the oranges and the chocolate, but you can't run a society on that. So when I look at food, I think of food actually as a cultural phenomenon. It's music, food, language. Those are three things that define art. They define culture. We all have it. Every civilization has them. So they're the thing that unite us as humans, but also food is the thing that defines us as a culture. So when you raised this question, I actually went back and looked at the movie and said, okay, what is the food they could have? Where did these oranges come from? Where did the chocolate come from? Because chocolate and citrus, they're not growing in the same place, although there are some areas of crossover. So, but just taking a look at that meal there, there's definitely what looks to be soy or some greens in there and so forth. So again, where is all this grown? Where's it all manufactured? I believe in the comic books, there's bowls of noodles. So you've got a bit of a melting pot culture here, definitely, and that would play into this. But what would I take for dinner for Alita? I think she's a pretty pragmatic sort of lady, so I would go for something pretty rustic. I'm thinking maybe roast chicken, gravy, biscuits. Actually, barbecue chicken, even better. Yeah, let's go full barbecue, and a nice big plate of some sort of greens. I'm thinking green beans. Yeah, a bit of chili in there as well, because she's pretty spicy.
That looks like broccoli she has on the plate there, doesn't it?
I couldn't quite identify. It could be broccoli, or it could also be Brussels sprouts.
Yeah,
which probably, by the look of the farm areas, when they're driving out under the out of the city, you do have some green fields there, and that does look like it's producing things like cabbages and possibly broccoli or something on that range. It's really hard to tell because it's just not in the movie, so we have to imagine a lot about what the cuisine is.
Well, in the manga, they have farms which are out away from the city. There is a bit of a difference in the manga and the movie, in that the movie is in Central America while the manga is in Central USA. So obviously the food would differ substantially between those two places, especially if there's not a worldwide transport network and supermarkets and all those sorts of things that we have now.
Yes, yeah. I think, and that's one of the things which is really important to recognize. Food is representative of the culture because it is part of where people can grow materials and what they've got access to, how they treat animals. All of that sort of comes into this discussion. So, you introduced me as a foodie. I'm not a mega foodie. I probably only spend about 3 hours a day watching the Food Network.
Only.
Yeah, I would call that a foodie.
That's what I do. That's what I do to quieten down. but
This
it is
dude,
really
he just randomly sends me pictures of stuff that he's made just yesterday. What was it? It was a cake that you were giving the neighbors because you needed to bake.
yeah.
If
I
that's
needed
not a
to bake.
foodie, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it was a nice Persian cake. Yeah, that was a custom job. That was when I wanted to experiment. So I got some baked plums, which are in season, and baked them on the inside of an almond cake, and then used an almond liqueur across the top.
In fact, this is a picture of it. This guy doesn't call himself a foodie, and he knocked that up because he needed to bake.
Yeah, but it didn't go to the neighbors. My wife grabbed it, and she's not even a cake fiend. So yeah, that was good.
Well, when the not cake fiend nabs your cake and eats it, it must be something done right.
Yeah, I do like cooking, but I think
Okay, when I come to Australia, Doc Joe's got to cook a cake for me.
Yeah, no problem. In fact, what I do to most of the guests who come down to Australia is I drive them up to the Hunter Valley. And again, goes back to this. The Hunter Valley is like our equivalent of your Napa Valley, except with decent wine. Fighting words. But yeah, for me, I get very interested in particular cultures cooking, and then I'll go for about 6 months to a year really diving into the history of that food. And I'm not interested in the high end stuff. I'm interested in what I sometimes refer to as the peasant food, the food that was eaten at a particular point in time and place by the average person because it's all they had. So often it's very inexpensive. There's a lot of offal or meat offcuts that you'd have. It's the food that does not get bought up by the people who've got the wealth. Now, this is really interesting for Alita because you've got the stratification of the society. So definitely what people were eating on the ground would have been very different from what was being eaten, in the heaven above. So you talked about street food and so forth. What would that be? It's probably a lot less meat than. So yeah, I do love the Wonder Woman art too, but they'll be eating a lot less meat, or those prime cuts, what we consider in the West prime cuts of meat. But there would have been a lot of things, for example, if they're raising pigs, you would have had pig spine, the pig hips, possibly tail and ears, trotters maybe. But, as for a nice pork chop, probably not. And those are the things which I'm always interested in. Again, with the vegetables, you might have, somebody said here that broccoli and Brussels sprouts are evil. That's because you don't know how to cook them. I love them. Two of my favorite veggies. But yeah, those fast-growing, robust crops that travel and store well. And broccoli is not one of them, but Brussels sprouts are much easier to store. Potatoes, the leader in Ireland and so forth. So that's what I actually imagine would be in this world, but it's not defined. So
yeah, there was one scene that I didn't actually forgot to put it in the presentation, but there was one scene just before she met the little dog that she was eating a falafel, and or it looked like that, or either a falafel or some kind of burrito or something like that. What would be in that, Doc?
Well, it's not clear because I saw no bread in the movie.
Yeah.
And so again, bread is one of those amazing human inventions that have been around since the dawn of time. We actually don't even know when it was created. But obviously it was after we discovered that you could pick grass seeds, crunch them up in between two stones, make them into a powder and keep them dry, and then eat them later. And then, add a bacteria to them and hope to hell that will become something better and eat that. Humans are, how the hell did we invent bread? I have no idea. But what about foods you could make 2 meals from, such as beef? Cook the beef, then have the broth. Yeah, Angelus, you're absolutely right. I do a lot of broth making. There would be a lot of reuse of material. So, going back to the falafel, I didn't see where the grains were in the movie. Ray, is there anything in the comic books about the growing of grains? Because that is always the primary staple for most cultures' food.
Well, I do believe that area currently is part of the wheat belt, or very close to the wheat belt. But I guess as grains aren't big in Japan because they don't really have the space to grow anything but rice,
That's great.
it may not have been a focus of Kishiro's thinking along the lines of food in that area. I mean, he does talk about the factory farms, but they never really go into what's actually grown there. So I don't have any information on that angle, unfortunately.
So the idea of factory farms is an interesting one, but staying on the grains for a moment, my gut feel is that they would have had probably barley or wheat, given the area, and given the fact that there's been climate change, so the area seems to have been a hotter culture. Maybe there are definitely some issues around that would probably be involved. But let's just say that they had barley and similar grains. Making something like a falafel is very easy and in that case, because basically you just mix up the grains, boil them, mix them up, put them with whatever vegetable matters you've got, herbs and salt, and then you fry it, which means they've got oil. So where does the oil come from? Are they using what is the source of their oil? Do they have olives? Do they have palm? You got all those things. It's so intricate when you actually start to look at the food. But at the end of the day, humans will always find a way of eating. Otherwise, they would die off. So clearly, they've solved it. What I thought was really interesting in the movie was the payment for surgery, the payment for medical care in oranges. And they're clearly a luxury item. That bag of oranges was worth a lot. Now, it might not have been something that Ido wanted, but it's something that he respected. It's a little bit like the pineapple in history. Literally, you would rent a pineapple to put it in your party. You wouldn't eat it because it was too expensive. Then you'd hand it back. That was during Victorian England times. Because it came from so far away. It was so exotic. Now, I don't think the oranges were quite that level, but they were definitely a luxury item, which suggests fresh fruit like that, which we would consider a staple, is going up. Yay, the pineapple. Yeah. But, I'm wondering how much of that fresh, whether it was grown in a farm or a factory or whatever, my thoughts are what's going up and what's being left on the ground. Yeah, but they would have had decent pizza in those days too.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing in Alita Army, whether you put pineapple on pizza or not. I know Angelus and I both like to put pineapple on pizza, but
I'm of the opinion, do what you want. It's your food. Fuck off. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big fan of pineapple on pizza, but you know what? I don't care. I make my homemade anchovies. I actually make anchovies, and I have anchovy pizzas. So, I'm eating homemade anchovies that have been fermented for 6 months. You can put whatever you want on your pizza.
Yeah, we had one of our guests on a previous show. His name's Billy Blair. He was on. Was one of Japan's.
I was on that one. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he
was wonderful.
Angelus, that was his first question. What about pineapple on pizza? And he said, well, it all depends. What kind of special herb you might eat after that.
I think that's fair. Fair.
That was great.
Yeah. Now, pizza, actually, I would imagine that, because I didn't see any raised bread in the movie, and I did take a very brief look online to see if there were any references to food. You don't see any bread, raised bread, lemon bread, which indicates they're probably eating flatbreads. So I'm making assumptions based on wild speculation here. Now, pizza is a raised bread, but there's plenty of Lebanese style foods that would suit the area of growing. So I would imagine that they would have, certainly in the street stalls or even home cooking, flatbreads piled with herbs and toppings and so forth. I could absolutely see that in that universe being a real staple. Flatbread for falafel and kebabs. Oh, yeah. I do love me some kebabs.
Yep.
Well, one of Rob Rod's additions I'm trying to think of the right word. but something he added to the flavor of the movie was he gave it a very sort of Mesoamerican feel. And that was deliberate because they wanted to move the position of the space elevator to an area on the globe where it would actually function. Basically, moving it too far off the equator creates too much torsion, and it couldn't possibly stay in the right place. It would spin and then disintegrate. So if we ever get to the point of space elevators, as we covered in our space elevator episode way back, it has to be right on or very close to the equator. So basically, being somebody from that area himself, he was quite keen to add that flavor to it. And as you said, Doctor, being moved to that area, he then started adding things from that area, and obviously food is one of the biggies.
And he actually does his own chocolate too, which is kind of neat, because I think wasn't there a story, Maxie, about Rosa was always eating the chocolate or something? Wasn't it like that?
So what it was is the bars of chocolate in the scene that I used a modified picture with Alita with the thumb up and the poster of Alita eating the chocolate, and that's obviously Rosa eating the chocolate in that scene. And apparently she deliberately flubbed the scene to eat more of the chocolate because it was so good. And at one point, Rob Rod goes to Rosa, "Look, Rosa, just film it properly, okay? I'm running out of chocolate." So, so she had to do it properly. Yeah. So he knew she was deliberately flubbing it to eat the chocolate.
Yeah.
This one's mine, and this one's mine, and this one's mine.
Yeah.
It must be, because so much chocolate is terrible in the world at the moment. What the sad thing with global warming is we know that our chocolate and some recent diseases we've had, our chocolate supply, our genuine chocolate supply, has really diminished greatly. There are some niche chocolates around the world which would grow in that area. There's one down here in Australia called Daintree chocolate. And when you try these, it's like specialty coffees. One bean of coffee is very different from another. And when they're treated right, you can definitely taste those differences. And with, for example, the Daintree chocolate, it's a pure cocoa pod, but it's got this amazing floral. It's almost like you're eating chocolate with strawberry or some sort of berry flavor in it. It's incredible. So, I imagine in my head when I saw that scene, I was actually imagining that chocolate, because it would either be completely synthetic, in which case you wouldn't be having that reaction, because it was, almost this, when you taste chocolate, really good chocolate, it has this euphoria. There's brain chemicals released. It's really good stuff. But when you taste crappy, everyday, boring chocolate from the supermarket, it's oily and it's sugary, and there's a bit of a hint of that chocolatey flavor there, and it's very different. And then you got the synthetic chocolates, which are just, they're just flavor. So her reaction.
And carob, which is the stuff you should walk on.
Well, actually, I don't mind carob. It's not great. I don't use it a lot, but it's a different thing entirely.
Really dark chocolate too is actually good for you health-wise. I mean, I have read that that it kind of helps your arteries. If you eat and the darker the better.
Yes, true. But when people talk about dark chocolate, they're not talking about the 70% dark chocolate that you buy and put in cakes and things.
No.
They're talking the good stuff.
Yeah.
And definitely that looks like pretty dark chocolate that she's munching into. So I just imagined in my head that she's tasting some chocolate that's probably locally grown. It's right from the cocoa pods. It's very, it is one of what we would consider specialty chocolates, because they're so damn hard to get. And if they're manufacturing chocolate and they're selling it on the street, that a street rat can afford to buy, then clearly they've got they've got a lot of trees.
Well, too, also Alita, she hasn't eaten chocolate probably ever, right?
Yeah.
So for her, any chocolate would have probably worked at the first time, But yeah, I think you're right. That does look like 90%, 95% chocolate, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and that can be incredibly astringent unless it's, as I said, one of these, the more pure chocolates, some of these more specialties. So I'd imagine white chocolate. White chocolate is not chocolate. It's milk
No, it
solids.
isn't.
It's milk solids. It's delicious, but it is just milk solids suspended in oil. A chocolate. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I purposely keep chocolate out of the house because I love it so much. But I do have a recipe for chocolate cake. There's a recipe, if people search for it online, from Tin Eats called The Easiest Chocolate Cake. It's not only the easiest, it's one of the best recipes. And it uses a cup of olive oil I use. And I strongly recommend, if you want a quick, easy cake to make, that is, just comes out brilliant every time, go for that one. The Tin Eats best, easiest chocolate cake. Wonderful.
I'll jump right on it. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a baker. I'm not a cook.
But this thing is almost foolproof, which amazes me. For Christmas, I'll often make people jars of the pre-mix. So it's basically cocoa and flour and so forth. And then all you do is you throw some eggs and a cup of oil in this thing and mix it up and put it in the oven. And you cannot screw it. Well, okay, no, you probably can.
I think I
burn it to
could.
a crisp.
I
can
could.
burn it to a crisp. Ray, do you remember that chocolate cake I tried to make you for your Christmas, and I was making it without the sugar? I was using the sugar replacement. Your birthday. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, why can't people
disaster.
make chocolate cakes with something like stevia or Splenda?
Yes, don't do it. Just don't.
Oh,
I
really?
tried. Yeah, I don't. So I tried to do this for Ray, being a diabetic. I said, okay, I'm going to make him a cake for his birthday because he really doesn't get to have cake. And I made the first one, and it was like a freaking puck. The stevia just was weird. So I went and got a different brand, one that's meant for baking, and made it again. And the thing, it was inedible.
Why is that, do you think?
Probably because I'm a shit cook, but
Oh, I know. I wouldn't say that.
But I ended up making this chocolate cake, and Ray just had to have a tiny little piece.
So
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, Ray.
Joe likes to get experimental, and sometimes his experiments don't always work out the first time or first 2 times, or first 10 times sometimes.
No. Yeah, okay, maybe.
Doc, did you mention a business there called Daintree? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's. I believe the chocolate name is Daintree Chocolate. That's the area it comes from. I'm not too sure of the
Wow.
exact.
Because I have a friend that lives in North Carolina. He sells Christmas trees, and the name of his business is Daintree Farms. So it's
right.
Yeah. So
But the
anyway.
Daintree is an area of Australia which has a huge mangrove swamp. And it's this real wilderness area. You walk in there, and it's, you can imagine banjos playing and aliens coming and grabbing you and whatnot. But it's also for agriculture. There's a lot of native foods there, and this particular cacao pod it looks quite different from the regular, what you would normally see as farmed cacao. It's pricey, but it's not outside of, you pay for what you get. Like coffee, you pay for what you get. Which again brings us back to, if they're getting chocolate down here, then imagine what the good quality stuff is up on the station.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like chocolate cake pie.
What is that?
I think, is that the one where you've got like the mousse inside the
Oh,
the
maybe
pie
so.
crust?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my God, they're so good. Yeah. As somebody who's got fatty liver disease, I really shouldn't be thinking about that stuff. You get to our age, you go, yeah, maybe I did eat too much.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I come to Australia, I'm gonna have to get you and Maxie out there. We got to go to the gym.
Yes.
Hey, I worked out last night. I'm still feeling it.
Yeah, that's right. Maxie's been working.
I've got to
out.
work out.
Yeah.
Thinking of this, one of the things I did pick up in the movie is that it is a cultural melting pot. And I'm very fortunate. I live in an area which is also a cultural melting pot. We've got huge Indian, Filipino, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, both North and Southern Chinese, populations here, and I'm sure that there's many others.
So we have Italians.
We don't have too many Italians down here. They moved up into the Dural area, but there's a real melting pot, and it's wonderful. I come home to our apartments, and the neighbours are in a big Indian family, and they're cooking up these amazing curries. And then you walk up one flight of stairs, and there's garlic and fish being cooked and so forth. And I do imagine the streets of Darlem, with all the smells. And now I'm imagining sort of Middle Eastern, Moroccan style smells, all those other cultures, Calcutta, that were on the trade route of having all of that wonderful mix of different cultures, foods coming together.
And then you find out they subsist on vitamin pills and things up there. They don't actually have real food. That would suck.
That would suck. Yeah, I would be very sad.
No, they don't. They get the best of what comes from the farms. So obviously they have to have some good cooks up there and chefs putting stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. There's a story I like to tell to illustrate the history of food and how food stratifies society. In Sicily, pre-World War One, Sicily, it was incredibly poor area. And so at the end of the harvest for the pigs, the men would butcher a pig or two, and then they would take pretty much everything, the face, the trotters, the tails, pretty much all the meat, and they would take that to the city to sell. And that would be about an 8-hour journey on foot with a cart, and then they would sell it, and then they would come back with whatever proceeds they had. So what was left at home in the village was basically the spine and the hips and a few other pieces of that, the stuff that's really quite hard to cook. And this is where one of my favorite recipes comes from, this level of extreme reuse of poverty. The local women would take the pork spines, and they would throw it into a big communal pot, and they would pour in passata, basically tomatoes, preserved tomatoes. They'd throw the tomato sauce in there. And then whatever wine they had left open, white or red, they would throw it in the pot. Whatever herbs they could find, they would throw it in the pot. They would always have onions, because onions grow like crazy, throw them in the pot. And they would let that thing cook until the men who'd taken the meat off to sell would get back. So by that time, it's been in there about 16 to 20 hours. The men who would then have a rest, they would then get given 2 sticks. They would push them into the pot. They would pull out the bones, which are falling apart. These are very fine bones. The thing was that they would shake them so whatever meat and gelatin would fall off it, and they would suck the bones dry. What's left in that pot is the most velvety meat ragu you'll ever have, because it is 80% gelatin and all those connective tissues which break down into gelatin in that period of time. And then there's just enough meat, and then all those other rich flavors which have matured. And then that would be made into pasta sauce and used for the next week. I make that dish, and I can make 12 liters of this incredible pasta sauce for about $12 Australian, which is, I think, 57 cents US. Culture in that food. It's a food made by necessity, but it's also incredibly respectful to the animals. It's respectful to the whole culture. And I think a lot of, it's dangerous that we forget that type of cooking, that type of food, because one, it's delicious and just heavenly, but also it's inexpensive, and it maximizes the use of something that's actually very expensive to produce, meat. And I do imagine in Alita that was going on, at least in some parts of the city, that type of absolute laser focus on getting the most. And then you got chocolate, so it's, I'm curious about where their economic, their economy sat in that whole spectrum of food production.
I don't know if Robert thought about it that deeply, but
Yeah,
perhaps he should.
so.
Perhaps he should contact you for the next movie to try and get some real food.
No, Yeah, I would love to see Guy
Economic scale.
Fieri in the sequel. You guys know Guy's Grocery Games? Guy who drives around in the sports car, visiting all the restaurants in America.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, the guy, he's got the white hair and everything.
Yep.
Wouldn't he fit the part as a mad chef in this universe?
Well, actually, now you mention it, one of Nova's clones, Destiny Nova in the manga, was a chef.
Oh, so maybe there's
but he only made flan. So
yeah,
he only made flan.
Yeah,
flan is life. Flan is
flan is life. Yeah. So they have eggs and they have milk, or at least soy.
But this was up on Zalem, so
which means they have chickens, which means my ideal barbecue roast dinner with Alita is possible. Yes.
Well, they don't have any chickens up in Zalem. They probably send them up through the supply tubes, after they've been processed, I guess. But
up the tube.
Yeah, they're too uppity. That's right.
Well, maybe you could just train the chickens to fly up.
No, the Centurions would shoot them down if they did that.
Yeah, there's no flying.
There's
no flying around
Zalem. Chicken smuggling to Zalem.
Yeah, they're real keen on stopping things from flying.
Yeah. So I've spoken a lot about, obviously my passion for food and history and so forth. But as Alita Army fanatics, I'm going to flip the question back. What do you think would be a wonderful dinner for Alita?
I think Creaky has a slideshow on that topic.
Ooh, I don't have it set up like that. But what I would say is that to me, Alita would probably be really keen on protein. I think certainly chicken would probably tickle her fancy, as they would say. She would probably like the kind of peas and beans and lentils. Lentils, stuff like that had a lot of protein in it. She'd probably be keen on that. So, by the way, Doc Joe, there's a thing going around the Alita Army that Alita's really my niece. So, so if I was to take her. Yeah,
that's so you come back from the future to promote her, so that when she.
Well, no, they think I'm immortal and I'll be alive when she finally gets put together.
Right.
So anyway,
good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's
Joe probably doesn't realize, but Creaky's what? You're 72 now or 73?
I'm 73. Yeah,
73.
So, yeah,
and he's a power lifter.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you and my wife would get on.
Oh yeah, Colorado state champion in my age group. But anyway,
amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to turn my camera on? Let you look at the. As you can see, there's the. You can't see it all, but I'm a big workout freak, and I try to eat right and that kind of thing. So if I was going to take Alita out, I'd make sure she'd get like a protein-based type of meal, we would definitely have a chocolate milkshake, for dessert, something like that, and, I would say if anybody, now she's my niece, so I'm not going to date Alita, but if somebody's going to date Alita, you wanted to take her out for a drink or something, you want to make sure she drinks something like Kahlua or some kind of a chocolate liqueur, or chocolate milk. We even had a little thing about that on the stream last night. So, I think that would be kind of what she would be keen on. She'd probably suffer through the first course of the meal, the salad and the stuff like she's eating right there. And then when she'd get to the chocolate, she'd probably eat you out of the house. She'd probably eat all the chocolate in the house real fast, Yeah,
I can imagine. Yeah, I think the protein is a really interesting one because, again, while I was thinking about this, I was thinking, how does being a cyborg change your dietary requirements? And I have no idea, but I would imagine that they would be less, maybe.
Yeah,
more. I have no idea.
That's the way. As a biologist, that's the way I was going to look at it. So we know from the manga and obviously the movie that she's very keen on chocolate. And in fact, there's a panel where basically she says, this is from the manga, where she says, I just need a bit of chocolate to give sugar for my brain.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, chocolate has the benefits of improving your mood, giving you a bit of an uptick in the mood stakes. And of course, we do know that Alita does have some dark moments. So having a little bit of an uptick wouldn't be a terrible thing. But according to Fit Minds, the brain essential health nutrients include long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, calcium, fiber, which I found surprising. I didn't realize the brain needed fiber. I thought that was more for gut health. And vitamins B1, B9, B12, D, and E. So obviously, that's very interesting. Vitamin D is normally gained from the sun through skin. And not having any skin, how would she get vitamin D? So that's
well, you could she could take supplements, but
she'd probably have to eat livers.
I sort of feel actually that's a really good point.
Well, they don't have a lot of supplements like they do around. Like, you know, today you can take supplement pills for a lot of different stuff, but it strikes me that Iron City wouldn't have that because it's kind of a dystopian type of, you know, civilization, you know. So to me, I mean, they've survived the war, and even though it's been 300 years, I don't think their technology has actually advanced all that much, except in the area of cyborgs, you know, or cyber technology. But yeah, so she wouldn't be able to get vitamin D from supplements, I would not think, you know, because I don't think there's any pharmaceutical companies.
I do know that you can gain some vitamin D from eating liver. So obviously cyborgs would probably need to have liver in their diet.
The other part of this is that people who are putting together cyborgs, like Ido, would know this. And it's very possible that they're embedding technologies in there that could synthesize or even store and like insulin pumps, you know, regulate that biochemistry. I can't imagine that you'd be able to do cybernetics without having some understanding of biochemistry as well as the physical technologies. Milkshake made with cow milk has protein. Yes, it does.
Well, you know, one of the things too about protein shakes, because I drink those, you know, but you know, you get the powdered protein that you get in containers and put that, but it doesn't seem to me they would have that in a dystopian society.
They may, and not for the same reasons though. Cheese and
well, that's right.
You know, all of these things are an attempt to preserve milk protein. And there are cultures where that gets crushed down to so much that it literally becomes, you know, some of the hard cheeses are almost, you know, when you grate them, they're a powder. So there are approaches to storing protein. Jerky is another one. Canning. I reckon these guys would do canning. I do canning. If I can do it, you know, that's one of the things which would definitely. You've got so many preppers in that area of the world. They're going to bring all their pressure cookers out. So I think, you know, you've probably got canned goods as well. I'd buy some greasy fish and chips and make her British. Oh, my God. There's only 3 fried foods in the world I love. There's only 3 fried foods which I eat. Fried chicken, which is so good. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, fried chicken. And no one can do it better than the American. I'm sorry. And then fish and chips, which is actually 2 fried foods. So that's it.
Yeah, I love fish and chips.
But so many people don't do fish and chips well.
Fish and chip with vinegar or malt vinegar on it. Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of fish, everybody knows these days that fish is a brain food. So obviously you get long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, which was on that list I mentioned before, and also some of those vitamins. So I would suspect, being that this is Central/Mesoamerica, that they wouldn't be too far from a coast. So some perhaps some salmon or something like that might be available. Probably not the best cuts, but they might be able to get a bit of tail or some gills or something like that.
I'm thinking that they probably have fish farms, like in a society which has high concentration farming factories. You could absolutely see that rapid growing fatty fish in a farm environment is the way to go. Is that more productive for protein than, say, chicken? Probably not. But I reckon there'd be fish in this culture.
Yeah. I would see for cyborgs, fish being way more important than other protein sources, mainly because of the other benefits. But I don't think that seeing like 80 to 90% of the protein requiring tissues are no longer present, being the muscles, that there'll be a huge need for protein. Really, I mean, you need a little bit to replace brain cells and stuff like that, but obviously, brain cells don't require protein like muscles do.
They sort of do, but this reminds me of a scene out of the first RoboCop movie, the original, where he has to eat, and they take his mask off, and there's just this head with a little bit of skin on it, and they're feeding him that specially constructed mush. I wonder how many of the cyborgs in this world are at that level. They really don't have a digestive system to speak of. What they've got is a rudimentary system that is designed just to keep the brain going.
Well, if they're a discount cyborg, then they wouldn't have much in the way of a digestive system, obviously. And if they weren't concerned about that sort of thing, because there's these cyborgs which are just a head with a screw thing attached, and they get screwed down into a cyborg body. They're called socket soldiers. And I would suspect that they wouldn't have much in the way of a digestive system, so they are probably on that sort of a diet.
So when you think about that, then you suddenly realize, okay, they probably do have some sort of technology around manufacturing supplements. Because what we're just describing there is effectively a form of supplement. It might not be a pill, but a supplement can just as easily be a paste or a shake. They would have to have that.
I don't see any blenders in that kitchen.
Mortar and pestle, man. Do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I see an industrial oven being used to keep the food warm. I thought that was amusing.
Yep. Yeah, that was kind of neat.
I've actually used that particular brand of oven. I know exactly how it works because I've used one.
Yeah, and to Doc's point, too, Alita eating what she's eating, it looks to me to be like chicken bits or something like that. Because he did say you got to eat some food for your brain. So maybe he's taken some of that kind of supplement like you're talking about and kind of infused that into the chicken, perhaps, possibly.
It's because when I looked at that plate, I thought soy.
Could be, yeah.
And absolutely, you can put anything with soy. But you're right. It's very, very possible. It's also possible that they've prior to the fall, they've had genetic engineering which bolsters some of these foods. Yeah. So there's absolutely ways of getting crop-grown foods to pack in a lot more nutrients. They're doing that with some tomatoes already. I do know that for many, many years, almost 3 decades now, some of the emergency supplements that they give out to refugees, the biscuits and things, are incredibly not just energy dense, but they're just absolutely packed with supplements. So maybe the farms are producing food which has multiple purposes.
Quite likely. Justifan mentioned that there's funny panels in the manga because Kishiro likes to draw as not part of the main storyline, but he sometimes draws these couple of pages of panels where there's a little bit of a comedic element, and one of them was when Ido was building Alita, and he wanted her to have the high performance stomach so that she could taste all the foods and enjoy them and digest them and have all those things ready for her brain. And also he wanted her to be able to poop like a person. So he was very keen about that. But it was a comedic element.
That's actually very deep. That's really interesting. High performance stomach. Wow. Now that's a whole level of philosophy right there.
But in the extras for the movie, they were basically saying that they didn't bother about that. They just had a baggie, which the food would go into the stomach and the nutrients would be extracted, and the rest of it goes into a bag, and you just take the bag out and put it in the bin when it's full.
Like a coffee pod. Yeah, because that's the sort of how I imagine some of those really heavily designed cyborgs would be. Wow, that's really interesting thought. There is I think it's in Paris. There was a art installation which was an artist put together basically a stomach in big chemical flasks and so forth, and they would put food in one end and you'd get poop out the other, but you'd see this whole process. Now, it was an artificial process to look at just how phenomenally amazing the human body is. Again, art, culture, food. But thinking about, because I do view food as intrinsically human, the art of food, but the experience of food is part of that art. All art is experiential. So that little panel there is actually very, very deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this, the leader needs to eat because eating is part of being human, and it is. It's also part of the whole life-death cycle. It's for me, it's as human as music is. And I know that sounds weird because music is basically the essential drug for our brain. Our brains seek patterns. Music is pattern. We love music. And food, the same thing. Food is what keeps us sustained, but we've turned it into an art form. And it's the flavors, the patterns of the flavors, what flavors go together. So there's a lot. Maybe I overthink these things, but I do look at it, and when you explore it in a science fiction world like this, all these other ideas pop up. It's fascinating.
So, Creaky, did you finish your angle on this?
I'm sorry, I got excited.
No, actually, I didn't. I got some slides in here. Like I definitely had the oranges thing where she, bit down on the orange with the peel on it, and then of course that, eating the orange the proper way, it's because she didn't have it. She had no clue what an orange was. I mean, in the novelization, Ito gives her the orange, and in the novelization it says she took the orange and inspected it, like it was an unknown thing to her, and then of course she trusted him because, I think in the novelization also said, well, he's a doctor, he means me no harm. And she bit down on it like that and discovered it tasted crappy. So, and then of course in the movie, he peels the orange for her and gives her one of the piece of the orange. And then of course she says, that's so good, something like that. So, I just had that one, Maxie, and then of course I had another slide here on the not that one. Sorry about that. No, I think that was it because it's the chocolate I had, the extra one.
I couldn't find a good shot of her eating the falafel, so yeah.
Well, there was one. I just forgot to put it in there. While y'all are talking, I can go over there and try to grab it. I think I will do that. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
So from my angle, I admit I wasn't focusing specifically on Alita's world. I was just thinking if I could take her out to dinner. Obviously, I'm not in her world, so I'm thinking about my world. So that maybe cast my mind back to now. I've been living in Sydney now for 30 odd years. So my first 10 years of Sydney, which I must admit, I moved to Sydney about the time just maybe a year after I discovered the manga. So it was way back then when the original run of the first story was coming out in English, and at that time, and I don't know when it closed down, but there was a restaurant in a northern suburb of Sydney called Mossman, and it was called Death by Chocolate. And their gimmick was that every single thing on the menu, drinks and food, entrees, mains, and desserts, all had chocolate in them. Now, a lot of people may not know this, but chocolate wasn't originally a sweet food. When it was originally used in Mesoamerica, it was actually as a savory. It was used in savory dishes. It was used to flavor meat and vegetables, soups, and all sorts of things like that. It only made its way into desserts when sugar was added to it, when it came back to Europe. It's very interesting, and sugar was difficult to get at the time too. So only people of great means were able to eat it like that. But I found that quite interesting, and I never actually got to go to this restaurant. It closed down before I could go and sample their delicacies. But I have got some. Now you can just Google this yourself, but there are savory chocolate recipes out there all over the web. There's millions of recipes all over the web, as most people would know if they've ever Googled it. But there are savory chocolate recipes, and of course, because I'm not the gastronomic expert that Doc Joe is. I would probably, if I could take Alita to this Death by Chocolate restaurant, that's probably the place I would take her. Doctor, you're muted. If you
No. I was just giving you a chance. I'm just smiling because I use chocolate a lot when I'm cooking Mesoamerican food, and I love pairing it with meat, also coffee. With slow roasted meats and sausages and things like that. So it's and the complexity of making a mole. Moles are an art in their own right. But yeah, chocolate as a savory is just so good.
So yeah, I'm suspecting that at least a few of the people listening to us right now, or when this is uploaded at the end of the stream as a recorded video, would not have realized that chocolate could be used like that. I mean, it's so prevalent in Western society as a dessert flavoring that they may not have ever seen it used in that fashion.
I think a lot of our American viewers will know it because you've got the chili there. Chocolate is used a lot in the best chilies. Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks good. What's that one?
Charred cauliflower and shishito peppers.
Oh man, now I want to go and buy cauliflower.
Sauce. Well, I'll send you the link so you can grab this page and start experimenting.
Well, maybe next time we get together, we'll do a Death by Chocolate meal. How's that?
That's good.
And it will fit within your current diet regime too.
I may have to just sample the dessert rather than dig on in, but other than that,
you don't even have to have dessert. I can guarantee some of the best meals you actually don't need dessert because you're so full up on things like this.
Look, I've been portion limiting myself, so my stomach shrunk. So I probably done after entree.
Yeah, when I come to Australia, though, you're not under such restrictions. So anyway. I am on a plant-based diet, Doc, but you know what? I don't have a problem occasionally eating chicken or fish or something like that.
My wife's is a Buddhist, and she has a vegetarian diet, although she does eat fish, so I call her a vegetarian. But as someone who loves to cook, the thing that I think a lot of people overlook with cooking is that they say, I've got to have meat because it's the flavor. No, generally the main flavor of a dish does not come from the meat. It comes from the vegetable matters and the herbs and the spices or vegetable matter that you put with it.
Yeah.
And I probably eat a fraction of the amount of meat that your typical Australian, certainly a lot less than a typical North American would eat.
Yeah.
But they're massive, bold flavors. And also, you can probably hear that I'm also eating a lot of offal, what people would consider the offcuts. I literally, when I was talking about that pork spine, I go down to the butchers and I ask them for the dog bones. Those are the bones that you feed to your dogs. And, I'll get 3 kilos of that and make this massive amount of it. So, and my wife, you mentioned one of your guests mentioned making stocks. So whenever I cook up, say, roast chickens, all of those bones end up in the stock pot. And it's not uncommon for me to take a 26-liter pressure cooker, throw a whole bunch of chicken bones in there, which are dirt cheap, and chicken feet. And you make these incredible stocks that my wife will eat because you pair that with, say, use that to make a rice dish or a noodle dish, and it is heaven. So absolutely. But going back to chocolate, oh my God, that there is that's the sort of food I love to eat. We're talking real history here.
So apparently those enchiladas aren't baked. They're simply drenched in a rich sauce made from fruity dried chilies and rich Mexican chocolate, rolled and eaten right away.
Oh my God, I bought a whole bunch of beautiful, luckily in Australia, we've got really good, like a wide amount of food. And I just bought a whole bunch of taco tortillas. So I'm going to make that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, I love moles, but they're so hard to make.
What do you think of marzipan there, Dr. Joe?
Marzipan?
Yeah.
Oh.
My mother was English, and she used to make marzipan every Christmas. You know?
I have got 2 huge tubs of marzipan over here on the which I use for covering cakes. I don't use it very often. I actually bought it because my daughter got engaged, and I was going to make the wedding cake, but of course COVID hit, so it's been sitting there for ages.
Yeah.
But what do I think about it? There's many other things I would prefer to eat.
Oh, really? Because I mean, that, you know, when I was a kid, you know, she used to make marzipan for my brother and I a lot. And of course, when we became adults, she made it, you know, just for Christmas. And this is homemade marzipan, not the stuff you get out of, you know, out of the grocery store or something like that, or the international food store or something, you know, and it's it does taste different, you know. Certainly
it does.
anything that's homemade. Yeah.
I like cooking with almonds a lot. Marzipan is an interesting ingredient because I think I'm still trying to get my head around. Most of the time when I've had marzipan, mate.
Yeah.
It's too thick, and I find it's one of those ingredients that you know you have to treat very deftly. But
I think Alita would like marzipan. I think she would, Maxie. I think
I was just typing.
I like that. That's
marzipan. Yeah,
marzipan.
Yes, I love that.
That's good. That's the quote of the episode.
Yes.
So obviously, this is a Mexican dish, polo en mo.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it. I'm bad with this stuff.
Pollo.
Poblano. Anyway, but it's Mexican, obviously, and so that would possibly be something that they would eat.
Yeah,
I could
down that way,
that.
down Iron City way.
Actually, this highlighting of the chocolate and the lack of bread, and you know the falafel thing on the street. You're probably right. This probably is the style, the dominant style of food in the area. Also the oranges and the citrus, that's another very common thing. So yeah, there probably is a few hints there. But instead, this type of cooking, I love Mexican food, genuine, you know, South American food. And it's a very, very broad brush. It's really hard to get out here in Australia. You can't get the right chilies because of our, obviously, quarantine and so forth. But there's ways to come close. The food I cook, it is one of those foods which I've really tried to get into. And when I said that making a mole is difficult, they have about it's not uncommon to get a mole recipe that has 64 separate ingredients, which is phenomenal. Yeah, that's probably got dozens of ingredients just in that sauce. And the rice, oh, look at that rice.
Yes.
I haven't had breakfast yet, guys.
Well, I haven't had dinner yet, so yeah, there you go.
Well, besides my protein shake after working out last night, I haven't eaten since 8 p.m. last night either. So I'm a little hungry doing all this, but so yeah, basically there are plenty of different ways to use chocolate in normal cooking. So I'm sure Alita would appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh God, that looks beautiful.
Yeah, I think as long as you fed Alita something with chocolate in it, even in a first course or something like that, and then follow that up with a chocolate dessert, I think I think she would really love it. I think she would appreciate it quite a bit.
She strikes me as a very down-to-earth character, so I think this more rustic, like that sort of food there is what she would prefer rather than a fancy dining experience.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
why I said, a lovely barbecue or something. She values friends and people incredibly highly. That's one of the things. She's a very compassionate character, even though she's a warrior, and that's one of the things that differentiates her. Deeply, deeply compassionate to her friends. So for her, eating is a social activity. Very likely. And I would see, going to a big cantina where you're sitting at the table with 3 other people who you've never met before, and out comes the food, and you start talking and sharing tips, and eventually, taking snacks off each other's shared plates and so forth. I could see her doing that.
Yeah. In the novelization, there's a restaurant called the Cafe. And of course, Hugo and his buddies hang out there, and Alita goes there occasionally, So I believe
the scene where she comes back after she's got the berserker body and meets Hugo. That's the Cafe.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And you saw somebody in the background. They were eating something with chopsticks. So it seemed to me that maybe they do some Asian food there or something like that, at the Cafe. But it could be that they do all kinds of different food there, and maybe like a fast food joint, even like today. So
there is the scene in the manga with the soup kitchen, if I recall.
Oh yeah, that's Zapan and Sarah.
That's right.
Were there? Yeah, that's right.
And I think that there was noodles in that, so they definitely have to have some sort of grain to make those noodles. And again, I suspect it's oats, wheat more than rice, because it seemed to be a pretty dry area.
Yeah, unless it's like like German Spätzle, which is more of a potato noodle. It could be that too.
I thought I'd just show this one because South America is known for its beef. So
sure is.
I thought that they might have managed to get some bovine.
That's a brisket, is it? It looks like a brisket. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
This is one thing which I'm going to take some flack from the Australian viewers. Aussies have no clue how to do barbecue meat. We think we do. We're going to have a barbecue. No, we grill our meat.
I got a story for you, man. That here in the U.S., they say nobody can make barbecue like they do in North Carolina. So
I'm going to nod. It's one of the things which I really regret with COVID, because I would love going to the States. I'd usually go about 2 or 3 times a year, and I'd always hunt out the tiny little hole-in-the-wall barbecue joints. And no one does barbecue. Only the Argentinians come close, and they get a slightly different take on it. But Americans know how to do barbecue.
Yes.
And the Texas and the Carolina and all that. But Carolina barbecue is probably one of my favorites. I actually make my own fermented Carolina barbecue sauce.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, there's a little near my house in Lynnville, North Carolina. There's this little place called the Hampton General Store. I call it the Hillbilly Bodega is what I call it. But they make great barbecue there. I mean, wow, it's great. Now, I haven't eaten meat for quite a while, but I know when I did eat meat, it was great. It's barbecue to die for. It is really great.
And that's the problem, is that to die for part, because eating those very large amounts of meat is not really good for the human body.
No, it is not.
Little bits, but give me cornbread, give me the collards. I love collards, and you can't get that stuff out here.
Oh yeah, collard greens. Yeah, I tell you, Doc Joe, you're speaking to my heart, man.
and rice and beans, rice and pinto beans, all of that lovely. That's. I could say some very funny stories, because I always forget how big American serves are. So I'll go into to one of these barbecue joints and say, "Can I please have a rack of ribs?" It's a full freaking rack, as opposed to what we have in Australia, which is like 3 ribs as a rack. I usually give myself about 3 hours. Burger King is Burgermeister. Yes.
Yeah. Although
Yes.
I do know that, they call it, I guess, McDonald's or something like that in Germany. They call it McCoots or something, which means, throw up, you eat it and you throw up. So,
Well, what do we used to call it McChunder here in Australia.
Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. But,
So if you thought that the sides got away without chocolate, no, you can have chocolate pear and cherry salads. So
Oh,
there you go.
yeah. Yeah.
That
That's
looks
no reason you
lovely.
can't put chocolate in a salad.
That might be good for you, Creaky, seeing you're Mr. Plant-based.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I will eat. I'm not a vegetarian even. I mean, I do whey protein and cheese and eggs and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that would be the next step if I wanted to, become a vegetarian. But yeah, that looks good to me right there.
that looks wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
very
does.
typical sort of stuff.
As a matter of fact, if I was going to take Alita out, that's kind of what we have. We'd have a salad like that with chocolate in it. Then we'd have a main course that was made with chocolate in it. And then we'd have a chocolate dessert. And then we'd follow that up with some kind of chocolate liqueur drink, and then she'd be in heaven after that, I think.
Should be all chalked up, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm wondering, maybe she would just like to get like a big kebab and sit out there and watch the motorsport or something. I could see.
Oh, yeah.
I could see her tailgating big time.
Yes. Yeah, she would probably be great on that because she loves. I mean, this is my take. I think she loves sports, particularly motorball. So yeah, tailgate with chocolate stuff. I think that'd speak to her heart too.
Now this here, I do amazing short ribs. It's my favorite cut of beef. I actually don't like beef generally, but the short ribs, when they're done well, and that is heaven on a plate. And oranges. Yeah, you could put a little bit of oranges. Actually, thinking about oranges, there's a wonderful, I think it's a Peruvian dish, which is black beans that you cook, and then you put like pickled meats in there, basically, salted ribs and bacon and whatnot. It's called feijoada. So it's black beans with these big chunks of meat in it, and it's slightly soupy, and it's served with wedges of orange and rice, and also little cheese breads, which is quite amazing. But feijoada is, again, one of those peasant dish, one of those cultural dishes that is just so ingrained in the culture. It is, and it's to die for. It's fantastic. It takes about a day to make, but it's wonderful. And it ties into this sort of, you can see the little wedges of mango there, I think, but those rich, deep, meaty flavors with citrus is really special. One of my favorite combos.
But yeah, you can just Google this stuff and get tons of different recipes with chocolate in them that aren't dessert. So have a look. You might surprise yourself if you like to cook. Jump in and have a go and see what you can come up with.
Just a fan has said that vegetarianism is fish being an exception. So I'm glad on that. So my wife's a vegetarian in that case. But I once asked her, as a Buddhist, how can you claim that you're not eating meat? Incidentally, Buddhists doesn't ban eating meat. They basically don't want to cause suffering, which is the reason for that. How can you, not eat meat yet still eat fish? And she looked at me with these cold, dead eyes, and she says, "It only counts if it screams."
What about the silent scream of the fish going?
Yeah, I know. Don't mess with them Buddhists. They can scare you. Chicken mole. Yeah, I try to make that on a fairly frequent basis. Yeah. I'm an absolute amateur, but oh my gosh, it's wonderful.
Doesn't sound like you're an amateur to me.
I like to call myself, I've got friends who are chefs, and I would never want to work that hard. I'm far too lazy to be a chef. But I am a cook who's interested in history. That's it. Mocha pumpkin seeds. That sounds interesting. I've seen those before.
Oh.
So
I wonder if you could take those veggie patties, because I mean, I like to eat those, and put those into something like what was Maxie just had up there, that chili. Instead of beef, you put a veggie patty in there and do
They
the
don't
same
work.
thing.
I've tried it.
It doesn't work that good.
It doesn't work. Just use beans.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I did try that once. They break down. They go.
Now that I could eat right there. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, doesn't that look tasty? We've been eating quite a lot of mushrooms at the moment because with all the damp weather, they're cheap. So we've got lots of mushrooms here.
I bet Alita would like that.
She'll probably just tip the plate up.
Yeah.
Very likely.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
One of the other things which I could imagine in the Alita world is a lot of preserved meats. I've got into charcuterie, basically making bacon and salamis and things. But again,
your bacon. God damn. He gave me some for Christmas, and we had it for 3 meals over a week. Oh, wow.
I've got a better version of it now. I've just bought another
Better?
4 kilos. So I'll pork. So I'll get that over to you as well.
Yes, please.
But it's very hard to preserve chicken, but it's really hard. It's much easier to preserve things like pork and beef outside of canning. So I'm talking about pickling. So I could absolutely see things like the bacons, the salamis, and so forth. I wonder if that would get shipped up, because it seems to be that the more that we look at these foods and think about them, the more street foods. I'm not too sure how much food storage is going on and that sort of food preserving, but certainly maybe when it's going up, maybe that's where the salamis go. I don't know. It's just.
Oh, look at that. That go back some, Maxie. That. Yeah, that one. Wow. Yeah, I could go for that.
That's beautiful, isn't it? This is, again, very similar to food, which we actually eat a lot at home here. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling. I'm the little scroll machine that scrolls.
You're the scroll machine. You're making us all hungry, man.
Yeah, you are.
I got to wait another 2.5 hours before I can eat. So.
Oh, you're
fasting. I got to
fasting.
suffer, so can you.
So are you doing intermittent fasting there, Maxie?
Yeah, 16 hours.
Oh,
I've got to do
6
something
days a
like
week.
that. My big problem here is that my beautiful wife got into making sourdough, and she's named all of her little sourdoughs, and she has to master and perfect everything that she does. She's one of those absolute, super focused, and her bread is purely artisan, but she'll do 3 loaves a week, and one of these fresh, really rustic, beautiful farm style loaves come out. I can't help myself. I have no willpower, and I eat half a loaf. It's still terrible. It's not good for me.
That would kill a diabetic.
That would kill a diabetic. Yeah.
I used to be in the pull aparts until it nearly killed me. I had to give them up.
Yeah. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if you want to cook that for me, go right ahead. That looks great.
And that's a corn tortilla there. I've gotten to making my own corn tortillas because they're very hard to get. The wheat ones, we've got a really good supply of them, but corn tortillas are actually very hard to get. So I've started making them myself. I've got, it's not hard to do, but it is time consuming, a little bit messy, and the results aren't quite as good as what I've had in America. So I've got to work on that.
Love casseroles. Yep.
Oh, okay. I love braises. So there's my favorite. Yum, yum, yum. I do love me some Brussels sprouts.
I've never had them cooked properly, I guess.
They're best roasted, actually. I think people, because they're like cabbage, as soon as you overcook them, and it doesn't take much to overcook them, all the sulfides come out and they taste like rotten egg, basically. You get that flavor. But if they're just roasted and still slightly crispy, or people are also taken to deep frying them, which, so. But they're actually a beautiful flavor when they're crispy. You can also shave them and use them as a salad, which is delicious. What is it with black Angus beef?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big beef eater.
I'm not either.
So for me, the thing I'll say with beef is that it does have a major umami. When you cook it, it's that caramelization on it. And while that's good, you can get that flavor in many, many other ways, which are far less expensive, far healthier for you. But when I do have beef, I ask for it blue. I actually like the taste of blood. And so, I will have it really heavily charred and then sliced thin, almost basically raw. That is great.
You'd get along great with Karula, wouldn't he, Maxie?
Yeah, pretty much.
Karula's a vampire. Oh yeah, chocolate martini. That's something.
Oh my God, they are the best, man.
That's the finisher.
And I love the way that they've put the little truffle in there. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that. That's a great idea. I have a chocolate scotch upstairs, a liqueur chocolate scotch.
I can't stand scotch.
Well, you're wrong.
That's what we tell people when they don't like Alita. You're wrong.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what we say.
No, look, food is going to be whatever you want, man.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't like gin up until about 3 weeks ago when I had a Vietnamese faux gin. The faux noodle soup with all those herbs. I had gin with all of those herbs in it. It blew my mind. Fantastic. But up until then, I didn't like gin. But I get why, everyone's got their favorites, the things they don't like. But that looks amazing. I want that. I'm gonna make that.
Chocolate martini. Wow.
Orange and chocolate. Actually, orange and chocolate go really, really well together. There's a sweet here in Australia. I don't know if you've got it in the States. It's called Jaffa. And it's basically a chocolate ball about the size of a marble wrapped in a hard, really stringent orange shell.
Okay.
And there used to be an ad campaign which was you roll your Jaffas down the aisle. So when you went to the movies, this is when I was a kid about 1 million years ago, you'd go to the movies and you'd get these bags of these little balls, Jaffas, and you'd throw them or roll them down the aisle to annoy people during the movie. And that was their ad campaign, literally. That's the ones. So maybe putting those into a pellet gun for Alita would be the way to go. You can see her doing paintball with Jaffas. And they're hard as. They're really, really hard.
She'd probably eat half the ammunition.
Well, yeah.
I suppose if you were out in the Badlands and you were starving, you'd eat your ammo and then you'd be disarmed.
Yeah, that's right.
My God, I've forgotten about Jaffas.
Jaffas, I've never heard of that. So anyway, we'll have to check it out.
It's a very Australian thing. It's like Minties.
Well, these guys got me a couple of years ago to try or to do Vegemite, So
have you done Tim Tams?
No.
Oh my God.
Ray, you need to send some Tim Tams over. It's whenever we have a special order from Storyweaver Games, if we have a fan who's written to us on a special request, quite often we'll include a box of Tim Tams, which they're a chocolate biscuit. They're basically a layered chocolate biscuit, and they are, I don't know, they would be equivalent to your Oreos. They're sort of like the national biscuit. But Ray, you have to send some over. Maybe you should get an Alita brand Tim Tam.
Oh no, that what is a Tim Tam again? What is that?
Ray, you want to pop it up on the screen?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Oh, okay.
And there's a whole culture around Tim Tams. One of the things that sort of went really popular about 10 years ago is you bite the end, just the corner off the Tim Tam, and then you bite another end off it because they're a rectangle, and you put one end into milk and you use it like a straw. So you suck the milk up through the Tim Tam.
That seems like a lot of work to me. I don't know.
It's worth
a lot of work
though.
for very little benefit, to be honest. But I've never tried it myself, of course, never. There they are, Tim Tams.
So there's like 2 layers of wafer and a layer of cream coated in chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that is
basically
the-
you
that's
bite
the
the ends
Australian-
off and then
that's
you
the Australian-
suck the tea or whatever you're drinking, and it goes through that middle layer.
Well, that's solid, isn't it? How? I mean, yeah. I guess the middle.
Well, it
layer-
melts.
Oh, it melts.
It melts.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's not very solid.
So there's a whole culture. In the past, decade, they've opened up and they've made all these different flavors. But frankly, just dark chocolate Tim Tams. They're the bomb.
But there's all sorts of different flavors.
There are now.
Original
you could
double
probably-
Coke
you could probably
pack,
get
other
those
white-
things-
Pack for almost $200. Wow.
Looks like you could probably get this on Amazon, I guess.
These packs are about $2.50 each. These must be very, very big packets.
Damn, 177
I
bucks.
think a
Holy
lot of that's
shit.
got to include shipping. God, I hope that includes shipping because that's nuts.
That'd be
Well,
about
that's 40% off.
Yeah, that's
Well,
about 100.
when COVID hit, I did rescue bags for some of the people which I communicate with over in the States. And I included a bag, a cryovac bag of really nice coffee beans because Australia does great coffee.
Yeah.
Couple of packs of Tim Tams, a little jar of Vegemite, some honey, and some macadamia nuts and a few other bits and pieces, and sent those over. Those are my going into lockdown rescue packs.
Do they have caramel Tim Tams?
They do.
Oh my God, I'm in. Okay,
They're
I'm
pretty
gonna get
bad.
some.
They're pretty bad.
Oh,
for
they're
you.
bad.
No, they're bad for you.
Oh, they're bad for you.
I
Okay.
have been known. Unfortunately, I have no willpower, so I have been known to eat the better part of an entire pack. The sort of thing that would kill poor Mac Stack over there.
Yeah. And they keep coming out with all these weird and wonderful flavors.
Yeah. Do not do the banana ones, the banoffee ones. Oh my God, that were disgusting. I have no idea. I did not buy them.
Oh my God.
This one is fish and chips.
Holy
so-
shit.
No.
I don't know how that would go.
I can't imagine that sucker's any good.
I think that's a joke.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna check it out and see if it's on Amazon. If they got caramel Tim Tams, I'm getting some.
Honestly,
Well,
American biscuits probably outperform in terms of sweetness and decadence most of what we have here in Oz. But the Tim Tams are right up there, man.
All right, cool.
Well, we have stores down here in Australia that basically ship in all the goodies from the US or the UK or wherever.
And Japan.
But it's usually a small store and it's specifically like US treats, and that's all they'll have. There was one of those in Sydney about 10 or 15 years ago. I don't know if it's still there, but I remember going in there and I was surrounded by Hershey's and all that stuff that's specifically, from the US, and you guys would see it in every single supermarket, but we don't see it down here. So obviously there might be a store like that you could order from in the US that would already have Tim Tams. So you might be able to get them quicker that way.
All right. Yeah, maybe in one of our international markets. It's not too far from my house here.
Yeah, it's funny talking about something which is a daily
Thing here, and you hear me talking about have to go to international market.
Exactly. Mind you, I'm happy to send you a bag of Tim Tams if you can send me a bag of specially dried chilies from your trade. But bring this.
The only
back
problem is that they're chocolate. It'd have to be a temperature controlled shipping, or things might end up a bit soggy, gooey.
Yeah,
melted all over the place.
Yeah, it's sort of heavily stabilized chalk, but yeah, it's not great.
Well, you could put those little dried ice chips in those things. It'll keep. Because I know a friend of mine sent me a cake one time through the FedEx, and and it had some dry ice in it. It was in a kind of like a plastic container. And I thought it was just regular ice, and I grabbed one of those things. Boy, I let that thing go real fast because
So this was sent to me by Angelus because he's a pizza nut, nerd. But obviously, we have Max Brenner down here. I'm presuming it may be US based or maybe from the UK, but it's basically a chocolate sort of restaurant boutique, which it's more angled on the sweet side of things, but they have dessert pizzas. And this would be something that Max Brenner would have. I'd probably take it there for dessert, actually, to Max Brenner, now thinking about it. But
wow.
That looks to be an absolute delicious abomination. This is something that should not exist, but I'm glad it does.
I would sit there and watch her eat it because it would kill me, like quite literally. I would be.
Yeah, your
A1 coma afterwards.
Your A1C would jump 3 points after that.
I am going to point out, however, we're looking at these. That's a very, very sweet thing. She was biting into dark chocolate, which is and I would imagine, going back to our early conversations, that it was probably especially, what we would consider especially chocolate was probably very pure, and I think she would probably be more into that chicken mole that we saw before than she would be into that. But again, we're just projecting ourselves into the character, which is what you should always be able to do with a good heroine or hero.
Yeah.
Well, clearly we need to get Alita some Tim Tams then. If we're going to do that.
I think we need I think when the sequel comes, we should try and get Tim Tams to do an Alita special. So it would be a orange Tim Tam.
Orange liqueur Tim Tam.
A Jaffa Tim Tam. That's what we need. It should be the Alita.
That would work.
We'll write. I think it's Arnott's who produce it, but yeah, let's do that.
I've actually been to the Arnott's factory in Tasmania.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You could smell it down the street. You could just smell the chocolate.
Wow. I wonder if Dizzy goes there very often. Dizzy lives near Hobart. I wonder if he.
Yeah. If he doesn't, he will now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's in the chat though.
Of course, if Angelus had any say in it, it would be orange and pineapple Tim Tams.
Yeah.
Because he's a pineapple fiend.
I would do that. Orange and pineapple go really, really well. I made a cake for my daughter's birthday last week, which was a Persian almond cake, and I had, because pineapples are cheap at the moment, so we bought them, and I cut all the skins off them. Again, this goes back to this idea of use every part. Cut all the skin off the pineapple. You put it into water and sugar, about equal weight of each, and you boil it for about an hour, and then you take you strain that, and you're left with this incredibly powerful pineapple syrup. So we just made this almond cake and poured the pineapple syrup all over it, and then had it with little pieces of pineapple on top. Oh, so good.
Hey, Creaky, I think we need to adjust the notes under this video to put a warning to people. Say, do not watch this if you are dieting. It's problematic.
Yeah, that is my problem. I should be. During COVID, I've really let because I haven't been to the gym, and unlike Ray, I'm not actually sticking to my exercise regime. So I've got to get rid of this.
I gotta lift weights, or I lose it. If I don't lift weights, I feel like I'm one step away from death's door sometimes. I just got to do it. Actually, I don't.
I'm sitting here with a tingly nose. My son's had a sniffle for the last couple of days and keeps trying to crawl all over me, even though I suggest he doesn't. And I'm starting to get a tingly nose now, so I think I better go downstairs and lift some weights and try and burn it out of me.
So, Just a Fan has ordered some Tim Tams from Amazon. Okay, nice. I'm going to get some too. I'm going to get some caramel Tim Tams. I'm telling you, I am going to do it, man, because caramel is my thing. I like chocolate, I do, but caramel's number one. So
you get along with my wife. She's a caramel fiend as well.
Oh, same with mine. I will quite often make dulce de leche, caramel. Again, that goes back to our Central American dulce de leche is a very common thing, and just dulce de leche, that lovely rich caramel.
Oh, I love that stuff.
You take cheese bread, those little cheese puffy bread things, and you dip it into that.
Yeah.
That is delicious.
Done that, ate that, absolutely. Yeah, I guess Vladi thinks Vladi thinks I really am immortal. So maybe I'll try my best, Vladi, to live up to your expectations.
So how many years is it before you get to meet Alita, Freaky?
It's going to be 240 something years. So
you got to live through the war, though.
Yeah, that's
And the
right.
ecological downfall.
That's right. Well, I just stay away from Zolom. That's what I'll do. I'll stay up here in Colorado. Is what I'll do, you know.
Hey, Doc Joe, didn't you have like a 40-minute budget for this? Because we've gone kind of over that.
Yeah, I do. But I had a very rough night's sleep, so I thought I just actually, I better get upstairs. I'm meant to be
All
driving.
It's
I'm meant to be driving.
not a
to the
good idea
mountains.
to drive on a poor sleep, but just
Poor
just
sleep.
Oh
stay.
no, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
So
I'm very annoyed.
you,
Those wonderful Indian neighbors, one of them whose place always smells beautiful, and they do these incredible barbecues of Indian food and so forth. They had a child's birthday party last night, and of course, like any big cultural barbecue, it went on till about 4 a.m.
Yes.
But I can't hold that against them. Life is a joy, and when you got a reason to celebrate, especially in these pretty dark times, you can't begrudge somebody for doing that.
Nope.
fair enough. So Joe, you wouldn't realize this, but I advertise across Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and Reddit for this stream. So this was the advertising that we put out, or I put out last night. And it's not going to scroll from StreamYard. I've got to move this one down here. So we asked people who weren't going to make it to the text chat what they thought should be on the menu. One of our stalwart Alita Army guys, John, he knows. He says, "I know my belly's rumbling. I can tell you that. Need to bring Alita over for lunch and make some salsa and chips." So he wasn't worrying too much about the chocolate.
I'm on his side. I think just good street food.
Yeah.
There we go. Ooh,
Yeah, Kowalczyk Carl, yeah.
Chocolate covered.
Yes.
Kowalczyk Carl is a very active member of the Alita Army, and obviously this menu was chosen specifically because it was oranges and chocolate.
Yeah.
And I suspect he's had it more than once.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A berserker dessert.
we should hunt around and put a list of like that list that you had, Ray, of great recipes that we think Alita would like, and share them and try making some of them.
That's a good idea.
There's a challenge. There's an Alita challenge. Take photos and post the photos back, like we've got here of these chocolate oranges.
Well, we could probably post the list of recipes on the blog. I'll speak to
But the thing
Tony
is, we
about
can
that.
actually make them. Get people cooking. The joy of cooking.
Aren't you going to renovate your kitchen soon?
Yeah, we're going to renovate the whole flat. Although we've just been told that one of our rental properties got flooded.
Oh.
Yeah, and the other place that we were looking at has the builders have just told us that it's going to be $250,000 worth to fix it. So we're going, yeah, okay, maybe our rich kitchen reno's on hold.
So that's $7.25 in US dollars. So.
No, it's almost $418, I believe, but it's only about 35 rubles.
Right.
Too soon?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, place at the moment.
Yeah,
so we got flooded out, and it's it'll get covered by insurance, but so be it.
Oh, so this was homemade. He did this.
Yeah.
himself.
You can see he's got Lindt chocolate. I believe that's Lindt from the look of the packaging.
Yep.
I love chocolate and orange, but I like to use glazed. Basically.
Yeah, I eat that Lynn chocolate, the really dark stuff. 90-95%. That's
yeah. For coating, for doing something like that, I would probably only use 70 because otherwise it can seize very easily as soon as it touches any moisture.
Yeah.
But that still looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, it does. Well, I eat it for the health benefit. Also, I like it. So
Yes, and that super dark chocolate is just fantastic. I love nibbling on, the really really dark chocolates.
Yeah. Now I got to go get some more.
And with that, I think we've been on here for quite a bit. But yeah, let's I'll dig up some recipes. You post yours, and let's start making some of these and having some Alita meals.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So as we normally do at the end of the stream, we talk about what's going to happen next week. So next week, the topic will be, what is life like in the Badlands in the manga? So that's Creaky's topic. He put that one up. So I'm looking forward to 99 slides of,
oh my God.
of goodness. You might think that's a joke, Joe, but actually Creaky did a 99 slide presentation for the technology of Alita Battle Angel. It was great.
Can we just watch Mad Max and be done with it?
What's that? Was that Don?
Mad Max and be done with it? Beyond Thunderdome?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's very similar, isn't it, in some ways?
So if you want to come on and have great fun with us chatting like Doc Joe did today, you're quite welcome to. Anybody in the Alita Army can join us. Down in the show notes, which is the notes underneath the stream that you're watching right now, or the video you're watching once it's uploaded as a video, there's a guest sign up sheet link. God, you can't say that 5 times fast. And it's a Google Doc. So all you need to do is you've got a Google account, just click on that. And if you're logged into your Google account, you will be able to write your name under any of the topics that take your fantasy. Please do join us. We have a lot of fun here. We don't bite unless asked several times. So please join us and we'd have a lot of fun. But of course, if you find the official, because we're super official here, Radio KAOS Alita Army stream to be a little bit daunting, obviously Joe doesn't because he's awesome. And you can be awesome too and join us here. But if you find it a little bit daunting, you can join the Alita stream, which is on Creaky's channel. So you have to go and go over to Creaky's channel and hit the subscribe button to get notifications of when that's on. It's roughly 24 hours before this one. Or it's 24? No, 22 hours before this one. And Creaky, take it away and tell us what they can expect if they pop over there.
Well, they can expect whatever Angelus and I come up with, because we don't have it. We don't do topics like we do here on this stream. I mean, we're wide open. Well, we do topics. We do come up with a primary topic, but yeah, I don't plan in advance like 2 months like Maxie does. We will come up with one during the week. But yeah, we get on there and have a lot of fun. I'll drop a link in the chat to the StreamYard to get on the stream. And you just jump on. If you're nervous, and you kind of, oh wow, I don't know if I can get on. My English is not that good and stuff like that. We don't care as long as you love Alita, and you can just say her name, Alita. We're good. We encourage you to do that. So yeah, we'll drop that chat. That URL address, you click on it, you're in the stream. So, you can just talk about anything about Alita, even if it's not on our topic, we'll engage with that one.
So the good thing about it is that you don't have to think about it. With this stream, we like to know who's coming on a little bit in advance, hopefully. You sign up and then you probably stress if you're new to this sort of thing. You probably stress for a few days. Obviously, I don't stress anymore because I just talk about Alita and that's fine because I love doing that. But you might feel a little bit stressy. So what you can do on the Alita stream is rock up into the text chat, type away. And if they're talking about something you're keen on, there'll be a link in the chat. You click on it and with just a few selections, type in a name and stuff like that, you can be on and talking and there's none of that preparatory stress. You're not going to be thinking about it for days. You can just hop on, have a chat, and realize just how easy it is. You can join us, you can chat, and once you're down with the Alita stream, you can rock on over here and show your love for Alita. So that's what we're hoping lots of you guys will do. Come and join us and talk with us. We love talking about Alita, and we hope that you will too. So on that note, I'd like to thank this week's guest, the immeasurably talented Doc Joe Sweeney, who I should mention that Doc Joe and I also work on a small games publishing company called Storyweaver Games. We are moving towards 2 Kickstarters, one for a card game called Slaughter. The tagline being, you can't have slaughter without laughter. And if you go and check the spelling, it is absolutely correct. It is a horror-themed card game where you make a movie a horror movie using a selection of cards. There's different genres like stalkers and slashers and things like that, but that will be going up on Kickstarter, and we hope that at least some of the Alita Army who are into horror will back us for that one. And also my favorite game that we've ever produced, Rapture: The End of Days, which is theological sci-fi horror. Yes, we do a fair bit of horror over at Story Games. Not the whole thing, but at the moment that's sort of what we're working on. But Rapture: The End of Days is a fantastic game that is designed around the paradigm of horror movies. So obviously, if you've ever played role-playing games before, you have a character, you want that character to survive and, you know, become more powerful and be a hero. That doesn't really work for horror. So the whole game's been designed, and the methodology of the game working has been designed so that people die. They need to die. Horror movies, people die. And that's the only way you can get experience.
In horrible ways.
Yes, the horrible, blah, 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 the better. And that was a completely horrible effort to say horrible. But yeah, lots of fun stuff coming your way from Storyweaver Games in the next few months. Check out at Storyweaver RPG on Twitter. There'll be Twitter posts coming to let you know when that's all happening. Anything you'd like to add, Joe?
No, thank you. It's been a really enjoyable morning talking about food. I'm going to go upstairs and make some breakfast. I've got some of that bacon. Yeah. But I do encourage everyone who's listening, like, there's no such thing as a bad cook.
Oh, yeah?
Cooking is not about getting it right. Cooking is about the act of doing it, but more importantly, just bringing people together and enjoying what you got. And, you know, when you look at a movie like Alita, the camaraderie, I think one of the reasons I find that movie resonates so well with so many people is you can read yourself into everyone in the street. You know, it is an everyman story, and yet you've got this incredible hero as well. And for me, you know, sitting around a table with a group of friends or family and just enjoying what you've done, what you've made for them is really the important part of food. And I think that Alita would probably think the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe, I think you're a hero in the kitchen, and I look forward to tasting your next culinary masterpiece.
More bacon on the way, dude. More bacon on the way.
That bacon is so good. Anyway, I'll calm down. I got to wait tomorrow.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
So thank you, listeners, for joining us. You're what makes the Alita Army fandom special. We do this for you guys, and we hope to be keeping doing it for quite a long while. We may get a sequel announcement sometime this year, and I'm looking forward to that. But of course, once that happens, our job is not over. We are going to spruik the new movie until our knuckles bleed and make sure that it is a wild success. So keep that in mind, that the job is not done once the green light is announced. We've got more work to do, boys and girls. So stick with the Alita Army. Keep loving Alita. Keep doing what you're doing, and we are going to be successful. It's just a matter of time. So on that note, I'd like to do our call to action for today. And everybody knows what it is now, and I've primed Joe in the background so he knows what to say. But on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, film those balls, baby. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
You can't.
It's better to have love.
conversation.
Unbroken sentence moving from topic to topic. No one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic.
That's an interesting twist.
He was an idiot.